Future Shaping and Making It, Part 2 by Ahmed Hindawy, Saleh Al Hamory, and Rola Maaytah. The general model for future foresight according to Force perspective includes 4 main levels. And these levels begin with inputs that can be obtained by answering the question, what's happening now? As for the second level, it's the foresight phase that consists of analysis, interpretation, and research. And in this phase, the questions of what seems to be happening, and what's really happening, and what could happen are answered. And in the third level, foresight outputs are obtained, which is represented in answering the question, what do we need to do? And finally comes the last level that includes the strategy, and that's represented in answering the questions, what will we do and how will we do? The foresight process can be implemented by applying a set of different tools and methods. The most important ones are scenario design, Delphi technique, experts consultation, actual training, models and simulations, brainstorming, mental maps, risk analysis, hypothesis study, and many more. And in this summary, we will focus on scenario design and the Delphi technique. Bit to remember, the general model for the future foresight according to Force perspective includes 4 main levels, which are inputs, foresight, outputs, and strategy. The alternative scenario technique started from the concept of risk management, so that the state or company identifies the most prominent risks that could hinder the achievement of its strategic objectives, then determines the likelihood and consequences of the occurrence of each risk, its level and priority, and then sets the appropriate strategies to deal with this risk. And these strategies include reducing the possibilities of risks, reducing the consequences of risks, risk transformation, and accepting the risk. It's worth noting that the technique of designing alternative scenarios is not limited to dealing with negative possibilities, but the state or company can also deal with the positive possibilities. When talking about this technique, there are 5 main types of scenarios. The first is the directional or linear scenario, which assumes that the current situation will continue as it is while examining and studying the topic. As for the second type, it's the optimistic pragmatic scenario that focuses on the occurrence of positive changes which make the future better than the present. And the pessimistic scenario is considered the third type, as it focuses on the occurrence of negative transformations in the internal and external environment of the topic of the study. As for the fourth type, it's the catastrophic scenario, which focuses on the fact that things will go horribly and seriously, which threatens the survival of the state or company. And the last type of scenarios is the coup scenario, which presents something amazing and wonderful that wasn't taken into consideration at all, and no one even dared to predict it. The scenarios usually consist of 5 basic elements, which are the beginnings, the story, the triggering events, the logic, and the endings. An example of using alternative scenarios technique is the oil market, where all exporting countries develop different scenarios according to different oil prices, supply and demand, and the political and economic situation of other exporting countries. And therefore, they determine the quantity that they will produce. Bit to remember, the alternative scenarios technique is one of the most important methods of shaping the future. Delphi technique is considered one of the most important methods used in the process of shaping the future, and it's a method of structured communication between a specific and selected group of experts and specialists in certain fields and areas, aimed at studying and analyzing future trends through organized collaborative work, by proposing appropriate solutions to problems and challenges without the need for meetings or without being directly in front of each other. And the following steps are taken while using the Delphi technique. 1. Determining the topic to be studied. 2. Composition of the team that will be responsible for monitoring the implementation of the technique. 3. Selecting a group of experts and consultants and classifying them into groups to study the different dimensions of the topic. 4. determining the questions by the monitoring group and sending them to the experts. 5. Receiving the answers and contributions of experts and consultants and analyzing the first round of responses by the team. 6. Resending the questions to experts and consultants with the observations of the monitoring group. 7. The contribution of experts and consultants is received and analyzed for the second time by the working group. These two steps are repeated until a relative consensus is obtained among the opinions of the experts. Finally, a final report is prepared which outlines the dimensions of this problem. Delphi technique is distinguished from others by many features, the most important of which are: it doesn't require meetings or the hassle of moving from one place to another. A large number of experts and consultants from different countries of the world participate in it. This technique allows experts and consultants to reconsider their opinions. This technique gives equal opportunities to all its participants, and the identity of the participating experts is not disclosed, and therefore the problem is studied objectively. Bit to remember: Delphi technique is one of the best methods used in the process of shaping the future. In the ministerial retreat of the United Arab Emirates that took place in early 2016, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan began the retreat with the following words: "We will continue to shape and plan for the future, and we will go ahead with launching effective national initiatives, and we will adopt an unconventional approach in supporting the comprehensive development process towards more achievements and strengthening the position of the UAE globally. Our ambition is to have a strong economy based on advanced industries and scientific research. And we look forward to Emirati innovations that change the lives of future generations for the better." With this approach and thought, the UAE has transformed the World Government Summit into an institution that's specialized in future foresight and that's held annually. And the state has undertaken many initiatives that aimed at encouraging investments in this field, as the state distributes annual awards for competitions in many fields, such as the best use of the unmanned aerial vehicle technology, robotics and artificial intelligence award, the best government phone service at the local, regional, and global levels. The state also built the first global museum of the future and established institutions for the future and adopted a government agenda for them. Bit to remember: creating the future is an essential factor in ensuring that countries remain in the circle of global competitiveness. Science and technology are changing the course of the world at an accelerated pace. Thanks for watching. Please follow our social media accounts. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel.